Rob Robinson, our producer, and welcome to the show, Revision3.com's co-host of Tekzilla, Miss Veronica Belmont. Veronica, how you doing?
I'm good, although I think my microphone isn't quite working properly.
That's all right. That makes me feel better because my brother, who's our producer, is very critical of me for sound. But you are like his, he has you up on a pedestal. So if your sound is bad, that's actually going to help us down the road, because if he's very critical of us, I'm going to say, wait a minute, wait. The most tech-savvy person you know had bad audio. I'm happy with it. It couldn't be better.
My audio setup is usually very good, but I went on vacation, and when I came back, all my stuff was unplugged. And so now I've been scrambling to try to put everything back together again, and I don't know which microphone I'm being picked up right now. Do I sound okay, though? Does it sound okay?
You definitely sound more than okay. You sound great. Speaking of your vacation, did you have a good time?
I did. I had a wonderful time.
Are you a drinker?
I am, although I didn't have too many wild nights.
Because Joe, my partner here, he doesn't really drink, but when we've gone on a couple, week trips with 98 Rock where we went to Cancun and places, and if you put an umbrella in a drink, he will suck down 6 or 7 of them just like that.
Yeah, there are drinks that aren't, I guess, you don't want to be drinking them in a bar, but there are places that you can go and then it's socially accepted, and that's what I want to drink. So, I mean, it's expensive for me to want to drink. So, meaning I have to go to, like, the equator just to have a drink, but that's really the only way that I can drink what I want to drink. You can't, order a mudslide, at Shanahan's
Right.
No, you got to go to, what is it, Bennigan's or Houlihan's? Bennigan's, that's the one in Boston. They have great mudslides.
See, she does drink. She knows.
Even Boston is far to get a mudslide, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. Now, if you were listening to the show earlier, Veronica, we were talking about Joe. He's got a virus in his computer. He had to see the tech guy. The guy
Don't embarrass me.
It's funny that you're so concerned. He doesn't know what Firefox was, how to download that.
Well, I know what Firefox is.
He didn't know how to download it. I mean, you couldn't figure out to Google it. But you were concerned that Veronica would hear this and think less of you, I guess?
Yes, I did not want you to know. Like, honestly, I don't think I'm an idiot.
I am judging you. I am judging you right now.
Well, I know you might be being sarcastic, but honestly, there is a way you're like, well, if you don't know that, like, I could never get in your inner circle if I don't, like if you were out with a guy, we know you have a boyfriend, believe me, our producers inundated us with Wikipedia and all their biographical information, but if you're out with a guy and he's like, hey, and everything is going great, you like him, and he goes, hey, let me get your number, and he pulls out a flip phone, you're not going to go out with that guy.
That's probably accurate, actually. I hate to be that person to say that, like, publicly, but you got to judge a person by the kind of phone they carry in one way or another.
Well, so he has to have a smartphone, basically.
Well, I mean, not this. It depends on the kind of guy it is. Like, if there's, oh man, I'm gonna get real in trouble for saying this kind of stuff. I can already feel it. My mom's gonna be listening. My mom listened to the show earlier, or she listened to one of your previous episodes, by the way.
What'd she think?
She said that you guys were very nice, and you said something about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, we did. We'll talk about that in a minute, but go ahead. Make your point.
All right, so phones. No, I think, for me anyway, I mean, technology is a huge part of my life, and so I want to be with and am with someone for who technology is also a very big part of their life. And so if someone was walking around with a phone that was 4 years old, and I'd be like, I don't think we have the same priorities.
Oh, my God. My computer has tape on it. I'm not kidding. Oh.
His cell phone has a rotary dial. I mean, it's very old.
That's not true. No, I do. I have an iPhone, but it's the 3G. That you'd be like, if you saw that.
I don't have the most recent iPhone.
I have the most recent iPhone. It's the first iPhone I've ever owned, and I actually want to talk about that because I had a good friend of mine, as my roommate at the time, but he was a software developer by trade, and when the iPhone came out, he got the iPhone. Then he read online that someone's making like $30,000. In a few months selling some crossword puzzle app. And he went out and he bought a Mac. He never owned a Mac. And he started developing apps for the iPhone. And I was like, you're an idiot. No one's going to make $30,000 off a crossword puzzle. Crossword puzzles are free in the newspaper every day online. And now he's developed this thing called White Noise. It's basically an app where you listen to sounds of nature. You have that. He has a million downloads. He's quit his six-figure job. He's like a millionaire, and I'm so jealous. So is there any way that this whole industry of apps and smartphones is just going to die out, and there won't be small-time developers like my buddy? They'll just be corporations.
No. I think there'll always be small, like boutique developers. The only problem with the whole industry is that it is dependent on another industry. Like building a whole business that's based on, for example, iOS or Android, all that can kind of fall down around you if something happens to those platforms. For example, if you're the Instagram guys and you've built a multi-million-dollar business, not making that money necessarily yet, because I don't even know what their business model is, but you've taken a lot of VC and you've gained millions and millions of users and you have huge brand recognition, and one day Apple just decides your app isn't approved anymore for one reason or another.
Right.
Well, what do you do next? If you haven't been working on other platforms and if you haven't been working on a desktop app or anything like that, suddenly you're SOL. So it's a finicky industry to be in for sure, but it's definitely profitable.
So I think the lesson is that Veronica's saying is that Apple will screw you.
Yeah. If your mom listened to the right shows, she would know how much our producer Robbie hates Apple. So is there any hope that you can give him for their, like here's what he wants. He wants to be able to crack his phone open, add anything to it. He wants to not void warranties. He wants to steal music. He's a bad guy, but Apple doesn't allow him. Like they protect their product and he hates them for it. But can you give him any hope that they'll fail now without Steve Jobs?
Don't think so. Sorry, guy. Probably not going to happen.
Sorry, Robbie.
Does that make him a bad person? I think it does, but
it just makes him the kind of person that probably shouldn't be using Apple products. If that's how he feels about it, use something like Android. Use something different that is more suited to your needs and desires and interests.
I believe he said Nokia, right? Isn't that what he says he has?
The clip that I think your mother might have listened to, we were talking about how, Kim Kardashian's obviously this, this beautiful woman that a lot of guys might fantasize about. But we were saying that, to be honest, in terms of being someone who's very attractive and someone who has a common interest and someone you might want to just talk to and hang out with and get to know, that you, Veronica, might be the most desired woman in the world.
Yeah, because what we were saying is there are people that might think Kim Kardashian is hot, but they're not professional athletes. They're not 6'10". They're not, Reggie Bush. So she's not attainable. Now, they look at you, they have common interests, right? You're talking the same language that they talk. And as a result, you are probably more people's dream girl than Kim Kardashian is.
Ha! I doubt that, but you are very sweet to say so.
No, I'm not sweet at all. If you listen to the show, that's absolutely not true.
That is absolutely not true, yeah.
What we were saying is that makes you actually less attainable because there is even a greater pool that's trying to get to you. Does that make any sense?
I'm confused, but I think I understand.
No,
it's a compliment. Well, guys might say they want to do this and that with Kim Kardashian. They never say I want to have a conversation with her.
No, you don't want to talk to Kim Kardashian.
Right, or Megan Fox, somebody. But
by the way, let me qualify that.
Someone would want to talk to you, Veronica.
Let me qualify that. If Kim Kardashian said she wanted to do the show, we absolutely would have her on. So let me take that. So to say I don't want to talk to her, yeah, I guess I don't want to talk to her over and over again for the rest of my life. Does that make more sense? Right.
Do you find that guys sort of want to challenge you, that your tech knowledge, because, you're a girl, how are you going to know about gaming? Do you get any of that, or is that over with?
I haven't really gotten that in a while, fortunately. But I did have a little experience in Costa Rica where we met some people at a bar, and my girlfriends and I were talking, and they were like, "Oh, so what do you guys do for a living?" And I said, "Oh, I do videos about technology and gaming on the internet." And he's like, "Oh, so what are you, some kind of geek or something?" And I was like, "Really? You're like I hadn't heard anyone ask that kind of a question in a really long time." And he's like, "So what, do you play like D&D and stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, I am a tiefling warlord." And he's like, "Oh, wasn't expecting that." Yeah,
do they have that for but that doesn't seem like
I only played like 4th edition though, so that might take some of my geek cred down.
Your geek cred is at an all-time high, I think. But that's our point. Kim Kardashian's never going to say anything that's going to spark